Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to jump on really quickly because I wanted to display something I created in real time. Let me go to the other screen. Let me get rid of that stuff. Let me go here. So I'm going to my portal now. I just spoke with a customer. Uh, they're going to be returning to the facility and we need to collect payment. So I let them know that before they return to facility, payment would be needed or else they will not be returning. And and this is for the current month. We're going to a new month, so we have to collect payment. Anyway, what I did was I told them I'm going to send them an invoice really quickly. So I went here to my facility invoice generator. Now, granted, yes, there's QuickBooks for this, I believe, Intuit, where I have a lot of customers that use Intuit, so they go through Intuit and they do it. But I needed something that was quick for me. And the way I do it is when I send this out to my residents, I have existing resident and I have manual resident, which means I have to enter them. But what I did was fairly quickly. This was a manual resident that I had to enter because it was new. Now, before, what I would do is, and normally you have to enter the resident's information. So I'm going to enter my name, as if I'm the resident, and I'm going to say they're going to this facility we care. And then manual rate type is monthly, not daily. Now let's say the manual rate amount, or for today's rate, the amount that we billed for partial of the month was $15.38, and then bill to. So I'm going to put bill to myself at 123 Main Street. I got to spell Main correctly, right? And my emails, I'm going to put my email that Onward at Care Man. And I'm not a fast typer at all, so Care Management. So what is that site? grp.com. All right, so email address. And then, wait, I put bill to, so bill to would have been me, Anwar Howard. And then address is 123 Main Street. You can enter phone number, this and that, a third, but there's no contract number. Contract numbers are when we're working with, vendors, like let's say we're working with the state or an agency that we want a contract with through procurement. And so they would have a contract number, and we have to enter our vendor number. But besides that, you have manual payment note. So there's a note. Now it says save billing profile. So if I want to save this billing profile, click yes, meaning that this is going to be a recurring charge. And the resident in this case is going to be staying with us and remaining with us. So we're going to have to bill them continuously. So I'll show you what that looks like. But anyway, then it says add this manual resident to the residence tab. That's going to be a yes also, right? And then there's no manual notes. And then we go into the regular thing. So that's when you're putting in a brand new resident, a brand new person you're billing or whatever like that. And then the month will be July. The invoice date will be for today. There's facility. Now, some of these already, you don't have to answer them, but I put them up there just because we have these categories. So if we're billing somebody in a daily rate, then you put how many days facility. If not, Medicaid OSS received, 0. Social Security received 0 because this is a private pay person. Family payment, 0. Other charges would mean any add-on fees. If there was transportation fees, beautician fees, if there were medication fees, things like that. So that's going to be 0. There's no other charges, and there was no prior balance. And then no late fee is going to be a charge. If there's a late fee, the late fee is usually $50 or 2.5% of whatever the rent would be. Payment instructions. You could put submit payment to We Care via ACH or let's say Zelle, and then, you put, whatever the Zelle handle is, Zelle at me.com, right? It's not real, obviously. And then you have a thing where you could invoice now, so email them now, email them later. So I'm going to put yes for email now, Now, override email. This pretty much is if you have somebody already saved into the email system, but you want to send it to somebody different because they said, oh, maybe my email address changed, or can you send it to this person instead of me? Then that's what that's for. And then prepared by me, right? And submit. So it's going to submit it. So what that does for me is I was able to send this out. Now I'm doing it with you, obviously, so it takes a little bit. I haven't used FreshBooks in a long time. I haven't used Intuit in a long time with the billing feature, but for me, it serves a purpose where I could just get this invoice out immediately. I'm not worried about the fees associated with using FreshBooks. I forgot what FreshBooks was when I was using it, like $15 a month or something like that. I'm not worried about Intuit. Intuit is cool because it captures all that stuff if you have that, set up with QuickBooks. But again, I'm just showing you something I designed for my purpose to, pretty much just get a handle on things because we have a different type of biller status. QuickBooks, it was one way and then it's another way. But anyway, let me go to the email because I'm going to go to the email and I'm going to show you what it looks like when I get that invoice put out there. So we'll go into the email and here you go. So this is what that invoice looks like. So it's going to go to the person and it's going to show resident invoice. It's going to say their name, the month that it's for. This is the email that I get back, to my office account, or that the person gets because I put in this, email address. So this is the email that the customer will see, and it says facility, the resident, invoice number, and I have it to generate a generic invoice number, the month, the amount due. I guess I put 1538, and then here's what the invoice will look like. Now, the invoice will also get saved in my portal as well, so that I have a history of all these invoices, just in case the person says, hey, we never received it, da-da-da. Well, guess what? I emailed it on this day, but let me go ahead and send it back out to you. And so this is what it's going to do for me. Bill to, and it puts who is billing to, the resident's name, the amount. You see all those items are negative because I didn't charge or anything, amount due, and then submit payment to the instructions envelope prepared by me and generated on. So it just goes, it's simple. It's for me to use. That's really it. I say me, but meaning my staff, my team, for us to use to get the emails out quick. Because sometimes I don't know how quick Intuit is with sitting down and putting everybody's information into it. It's probably just as quick. I'll check it out. But the thing with this is I don't have any fees associated with this. And that's the main thing, is that I don't have any fees associated with it. And I built it into our portal. And that was one of the main things that I said, hey, when we have new residents coming in, people that we have to bill who's on maybe a respite stay or something like that, I didn't want to, have to sit down and put them into the system. Everything I showed you on this computer, I could actually do on my phone. So I could do it really quickly on my phone. And so, you can with FreshBooks and Intuit as well. But the main thing is this is mine. I'm not paying anybody for it, and I'm storing the data on my own. That's it. I'll try to compare it to one of those other, I guess, apps sort of like that, but really, I don't need to. I built this for us, for our purposes, and it serves our purpose. And, the thing that I also wanted to show you is that when I add that person in, I'm guessing that it does the same thing like, FreshBooks and those other ones where I'll go to existing resident and hopefully, right, we're going to see if it broke, then it broke, but hopefully I'm in here. So let's see if I'm in here. It broke. I'm not in here. So I got to figure out why it's frozen and static. So let me go back and I'm going to have to test that out. So I'm glad I'm doing this with you in real time. So now I have something to diagnose and repair and then figure out, oh, okay, so I really have to repair because everybody's frozen right now and it's not going through the full list of residents or people I have at any of the facilities, which I can absolutely fix that really quickly. Existing resident. Okay, let me go through and see the resident list. Okay, so that's what happened. I have to update my resident list. Once I update the resident list, it'll get everybody else up there. They're not up there. Yeah, I definitely have to update this resident list. And you know something? The reason I have these residents is more than likely because everybody is not billed. So what I have to do is just figure out the disconnect between me saying, yes, add this person to the current list of residents, and find out where it's breaking at. So I'm going to check that out. I'm going to fix it to see where it's breaking at. I have to go through my scripts. More than likely, let me see. If I go to here and it says go to section 7. So let me go down to section 7 and see why section 7 is not facility to add resident to is there. Manual, this in the third. Let's see, save billings. When I save is yes. And then add this resident to the residents tab. When I click on that, is it yes? So I'm going to have to go into this because I'm going to have to update the script to do that. But the only thing, now let me check one other place, which is my invoice reports. Because of my reports, I definitely have it. So this is just a backup that I built in. So I have a sheet that's going to collect everything I sent out. So on the reports, I definitely do have it, and it did go there. Manual bill to, manual responsible party is up there. Save the billing, yes, and add the manual resident is there. So from there, I'm just going to need to adjust my script so that way when I do select that, it actually does go back and add it to that manual tab, so that way when I go back to it again, it works. But, you know, cool. Things break. Things don't always work. You got to adjust it. You got to fix it. And that's what I'll do. And then I have it working back. I'm glad I did it in real time because I see where it's messing up right there. And I do not want to have to add this resident every time I put the resident in. So that's it. I just wanted to show you that because I just invoiced somebody, and as soon as I sent the invoice, they sent me the payment back in like 5 minutes, which was beautiful. No, this invoice generator is not linked to any account or anything like that where it has takes credit card information, anything like that. But you know, it just gives them the payment portal to go ahead and make a payment to. And I'm not using any special portal. They're just going through Zelle or through an ACH. That is it. So that's it. That's what I had to show. Hopefully that just gives some insight to just another way that I make my life a little easier. And again, this is me and, you know, a bunch of operations where acquiring a bunch of operations where we use paper, predominantly paper, everything, or they didn't even use paper. They use a damn pen and pencil and a head, and well, if you're using paper, you got a pen and pencil, you got to put it on paper, right? But they just didn't have any systems in place to capture anything. So I did start out with trying to buy and purchase all these different things, and I was just like, this is too many subscriptions, too many payments going here, there, you can't trace it. I'm seeing a payment coming off of my card and out of my account for everything. It's stuff that I don't even use, and it's still coming out. So this was my way of saying, you know what, let me back up. Let me just build some of these things myself based on how we need to use them, and then go from there. And, you know, this is one of those things that really, truly, truly, truly makes my life simpler. And that's my aim, is to keep making things, I guess, app-based systems, workflows, automations, to make my business operate a lot quicker, a lot smoother, showing my staff how to use it. They do it. I don't have to do it. And there you go. So hopefully, you know, I don't know, this was cool, or showed some insight or whatever like that. Anyway, later.